this would be the time that I can go ahead and tell you all why I created these wonderful products and just the overall journey that I have been on over the last really 8 years. 8 years since 2014, I have been going through a lot of emotional, physical, and spiritual healing when it comes to my womb space. Back in 2014, let me stop and say again, my name is Alisha Cannon, you all. I was just ready to dig right on into it. My name is Alisha Cannon. Some people call me the butterfly goddess. I am, again, a herbalist and just a friend and a sister indeed to want to make a change in the communities around the world. In 2014, I was a newlywed. I was so excited that me and my husband was about to experience starting a family of our own. And on November the 5th, I had a mercy surgery that resulted in removal of one of my fallopian tubes because I had a ectopic pregnancy. And for those of you that don't really understand or know what a ectopic pregnancy is, that's when the embryo is stuck inside of one of your fallopian tubes, which can cause death if it happened to rupture, right? And so I woke up on November the 6th with not knowing exactly what happened to me, not having to wait to a residential physician to come tell me about what they have done to my body, right? Because when my husband found me, I was laying on the bathroom floor because I actually passed out from hemorrhaging. So this surgery left me all kind of confused. I was in pain. I felt disgusted. I felt violated, even though the removal of my fallopian tube saved my life. I felt like I died. And I didn't have no one to talk to at all. Some people would say, oh, well, you all can go ahead and try again later. Or, it's not like you actually went through the whole process. You was only, 10 weeks pregnant. It was nothing to help me with my mental state going through that process. So I became angry. I was what you consider a angry Black woman because all my emotions were displayed and took a major effect on my newly marriage and also my physical health. In 3 months, I had gained 50 pounds. I went from a size 14 to a size 18. My hair was falling out to the point where my hair was like this short and you can see my scalp, because I was losing so much blood and the hair follicles wasn't getting nourished like they should to provide hair growth. My nails were real thin and brittle. My skin was real dry. My face started breaking out. I was dealing with heavy pains in my stomach. And let me tell you something. I thought this was kind of like a side effect for having an ectopic pregnancy, for having that surgery. So I didn't think much of it. I just knew something was going on with me on levels that I could not explain. I remember in March of 2015, I was at the dollar store and talking to a sweet elder lady, and I actually passed out in the dollar store. And I immediately jumped in my car once I was up and fine and went to the emergency room. And when I went to the emergency room, I recall the doctor asking me, Miss Cannon, do you know why you're losing so much blood? Now, can you imagine being in the hospital and doctor asking you, do you know about what's going on with your own health? I had no idea that I was actually growing fibroids in my body. So that short time frame from November to March, I became so angry, so bitter, so depressed, so broken that I was pregnant with something that was negative, that was not of my kind, that was not supposed to be growing in my body, and that was fibroids. But if you know anything about fibroids, you know that they don't just come in ones, they come in bunches, almost like grapes. And the fibroids I had were taking over all of my wound space. It was covered with fibroids in just in that short time frame. And so at that time, I was told to take some ibuprofen and follow up with my my physician, my personal physician, and to consider having a hysterectomy because it was that bad. Just it was a man doctor that looked me straight in my eyes and said, "Miss Cannon, just go ahead and have a hysterectomy and get it over with." Now, hearing that, it still stays with me in my heart because, fibroids is something I don't want to say it runs in the family, but the trauma and the diet and the lifestyle runs in my family, right? So I experienced knowing what complications my mom went through for having a hysterectomy and my aunts. And it was just so common of, just women in general that I know that had to go through this process. And I was thinking to myself, I refuse to go through this. I don't know if I can deal with the suffering much longer, but I refuse to go through the process of them taking another piece of my wound space out of my body. I cannot go through that, again. So my physician told me when I followed up with my private physician, she told me, "Okay, Miss Cannon, this is what we can do. We can put you on some birth control pills, and hopefully that will stop the heavy bleeding. That will stop, the cramping, the heavy cramping. That will stop you from being on your cycle almost 2 weeks out of the month. That will stop you from wearing, a jacket in a house because you're always cold. Now we got something else to help you with your mental. We can put you on some Zoloft too, but at this time we're going to just focus on the fibroids, and we're going to just put you on this you can either go back on the IUD, or you can get some birth control pills, and hopefully that can help you with what you're going through." And to be honest, I'm not a physician, y'all, but I had the IUD for 5 years. And I kind of believe that that's kind of like, it kind of like contribute to the having a damaged fallopian tube, which caused ectopic pregnancy because it was embedded on my fallopian tube, right? And then I kind of think that it messed up my hormones so bad that, it put me in a position to be friendly to developing fibroids in my body. So I looked at that lady and said, no, y'all not gonna put them chemicals back in me. Absolutely not. And she said, "Well, let's just go ahead and work out a thing where we can schedule you for a hysterectomy." And I walked out of that lady office. I walked out of that lady office feeling like I did not have a choice in the matter. Again, I didn't want to be on birth control. I didn't want to have a hysterectomy, but nobody understood my pain. Nobody could help me. There was no groups that I can join with women that, was going through what I was going through, friends and families that would actually have been through the process. They was like, it's not really a big deal. Just go ahead and get a, hysterectomy. But I just couldn't fathom the ideal that I was going to be another statistic to have that procedure done. I remember, going to the grocery store to pick up my son some dinner, and sitting in the car for 30 minutes trying to figure out if I can make it in that store to get some groceries and make it back to my car without bleeding heavy. Sitting in my car trying to determine, can I go to the grocery store? Because I feel the blood running down. I have on three pads, and I'm trying to figure out, what can I do? Is it possible that I can go in the store without being embarrassed? And I remember going inside the grocery store, and having everything I needed for dinner for that night, and standing in the checkout lane and feeling the blood running down my legs and having to leave that grocery cart and run back to my car without the blood falling outside of my pants leg, because my whole back of my butt is full of blood. I remember that. And, I said, it just has to be another way. It has to be another way. But going back to when I left the doctor office, I remember going to Creekcore Lake. Those that live in St. Louis, Missouri know where that lake is at. And I stood right there by that lake. And I told myself, I'm in my early 30s and I'm hearing everybody saying, you just now started life. And I feel like I'm ready to end it. Why? Because I feel I don't feel like myself. I don't like what I see in the mirror. This is not even me. I got all this weight on so fast. I barely have clothes to, put on, because I'm constantly gaining weight because my hormones and my metabolism is all off. And I remember thinking something that's so simple. I said to myself, when a dog is sick, a dog knows to go outside and eat grass to heal itself. Yet I am depending on something outside of my temple to heal me. I'm depending on physicians to heal me, when it clearly states on my discharge papers from the emergency room that they do not claim to cure. They only claim, they only treat you. They do not claim that they will cure you. They cannot say that they will cure you. So how in the heck am I going to depend on them or even think that they have the answers to my solution? I said, I'm going to heal myself. And I said, you know what, God? And I said it just like this. I was talking to God like God was my girlfriend. I said, you know what, God? I tell you what, if I heal myself, I promise that I will help other women heal. So today we say no more sis. Why? Because you know what, ladies, if you're going through suffering in silence, you are not alone. You are not alone. I educated myself to the best of my ability. I became a community herbalist. I went to Love My Womb Academy to learn about other things pertaining to the womb space. I had so much education from so many powerful people to the point where I became a beast in my own way, in my own lane, honey. And I was ready to go out here and help some other women to start their healing practice. I opened up a spa out in Clayton, Missouri. And it wasn't like a big, fancy, beautiful spa. It was one room where women would come in, and some of these women remember that to this day. They would come and sit down, and I would listen to them. I would listen to what they're going through. I created a sacred small room, right, where women can release trauma, whether it was from, rape, whether it was from, dealing with endometriosis, PCOS, infertility issues, fibroids, you name it. These women were going through these issues, and they didn't have no one to talk to, right? They didn't want to tell their friends that they were maybe, HIV positive or having herpes or, all those things. But for some reason, they felt comfortable enough with me to share with me what they was experiencing in their body. And together we was working through some things. Because see, once I have a client, you don't just become a client, you become a friend. So I'm gonna walk you every step of the way and become your accountability partner to show you a way to heal yourself. because I was able to heal myself. Because see, when I went back and got an ultrasound done, they did not discover any more fibroids in my body. And it took 7 months. So I am a believer, right? I'm also a teacher, right? And I also understand what my sister's going through because I've been through it. Okay. And so to go ahead and finish my story up real quick, Wombversity is that platform where ladies can get educated by powerful instructors just like I did. Just like I did. I got educated from other people because guess what? Wisdom comes from the wise. So we plant the seed in each other, right? And so Wombversity is going to plant a seed in each and every last one of you that joins this movement so you can become powerful. So you can come up with ideals to help these women, your sisters and your cousins and your daughters. You can prevent them from going through some of the complications that you had to go through, you know, and that's what it's all about. It's about passing on the information. It's about making a change. It's about standing up for something that's right. And even though we are not physicians and we would never, ever claim to be a physician, we work with the physicians, right? Because they don't have time to work with you one-on-one like your sister that become a wombologist can. And so thank you all for letting me share my story. I'm going to go ahead and give it back to Mr. James Dickerson. Mr. James Dickerson is the powerhouse. He is the leader. He is the yin to the yang, okay? And he is the CEO of Wombversity, right? And it's so good, ladies. It's so good. Let me tell you something. When you can have a man, when you can have powerhouse of man standing beside you saying, I get what you're going through and I want to help you. I want to be accountable for my actions. I want to be accountable for you having or taking up and standing up for what you believe in, and we can make a difference. We're going to make a difference together, right? So James Dickerson is the CEO, the co-founder of Wombversity, and I really wish at the time that I was going through my major suffering where I was ready to check out of this reality, I really wish that someone like James Dickerson was around for my husband because men go through stuff too, ladies. They go through trauma too. When I had that ectopic pregnancy, my husband went through some depression as well. And because I was bitter, I couldn't see his because it was all about me, right? So James Dickerson, I'm going to go ahead and give it over to you. Thank you all for letting me share my story. Thank you.
Whoa. I ain't see that coming. Did you see that coming, Nurse Sherry?
I did not. That was powerful.